So this week, I saw on the internet that David Hurl, who is a pollster with Gandalf Group, came out and saying that we need to use more the word farmer. We should not use the word producer, and we should definitely not use the word agribusiness. From a consumer perspective point of view, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, it's interesting because Grey News actually it's our style and has been for quite some time to use the word farmer more than producer. There are instances where you kind of can't. You wouldn't say someone's a canola farmer necessarily, right? You'd probably call them a canola producer, but in general, it's kind of been our take that farmers are farmers, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's what they do, and you live on a farm, and yes, you produce crops, but you're a farmer, and as a farmer, that does have connotations of. It does. I think for consumers, it brings up certain visuals or certain ideas of people who live on the land and grow food, and I don't know that from my perspective though that I use the term to try and get consumers jazzed up about farmers.
But aren't we being romantic here? Like, so
isn't farming romantic?
All of that is about.
Isn't that why everyone does it?
This is about some sort of romantic view about what agriculture is or we want it to be. And we spend all this time talking about how agriculture is not a lifestyle, it's a business, it has to be a business. But we're not going to use the word agribusiness.
Yeah, but business, and they are businesses, there's no way around that, but businesses also need, or can do well or fail based on public perceptions and what consumers think of certain businesses and those sorts of things. And calling someone a farmer, I don't think means that they don't conduct their business as, businessmen or women per se. But I don't know. I prefer the term farmer. I think that maybe it's a bit more earthy, and maybe it is a little bit more romantic or sounds a little nicer. And I will say I often do kind of informal surveys with either readers or farmers that I interview or those sorts of things, and I ask them their preference. And some don't really care, and others, certainly in the younger profile, kind of actually prefer producer, and that they feel it maybe sounds more professional. So
we hear. Yeah, I think that's how that whole thing kind of started, right? We started calling people producers and growers. You hear grower a lot too, right?
Growers, yeah.
And so I think for either of those, grower or producer, I don't see how those come with any sort of negative connotation, because essentially that's what they're doing.
Yeah, and that's just it, is that I guess I can see more, calling someone an ag business or an agribusiness as opposed to a farm might kind of sterilize it a little bit. But, when you say something like a pulse producer or a cattle producer, I don't necessarily feel that that's a negative connotation per se. And, farming is one of those few jobs and industries where you do produce something from almost nothing, right? It's one of the few base industries that we have. So I don't necessarily think the term producer, is a bad term per se, but I can see where people are coming from on the farming side, and as certainly, awareness and the local food movement and farm safety and all these sorts of things and buzzwords are maybe more, getting a little more attention, those sorts of things. I think that there are, in fact, some good connotations that go with farmer, and I don't object to using it more. I don't know. I think there's a time for all of them. I prefer calling people ranchers than cattle producers, but
yeah, I do. So I guess when we look at our writing, what do you use commonly in your writing? I say a lot of times, I use a lot of farmers and ranchers, because you're kind of covering a broad group. But Hurl said, consumers lose trust as soon as farms are known as businesses. That to me is ridiculous. And maybe he's done a survey. I'm not sure where he's done a survey, but it does seem a little bit ridiculous, because let's be honest. We have to sort of recognize we are what we are, and whether you're a one-man farm or you're a farm with 15 employees, it is a business. It'd be ridiculous to think it's not.
Yeah, absolutely. But I I suppose when you go down that road, I mean, then you start into people saying, "Oh, corporate farming and industrial farms, or the the big scary corporate farm and those sorts of things." Which, those of us in the industry recognize that just because a farm is incorporated or is a large farm and isn't incorporated doesn't make it evil or bad or wrong.
Right.
But those are the perceptions that are out there, and we work in a business where perceptions are not even necessarily anywhere nearly based in reality, but it's the perception that we work in. So,
well, I think the next step, Lyndsey, should be that everybody has to carry around a pitchfork. That'd be. Well, why not, right?
Why not? No, but that's the issue though. Is by encouraging someone to use the term farmer, or for us in the media to be encouraged to use the term farmer, or for young farmers to call themselves that. Do you think that brings up a stereotype of pitchforks and straw in the mouth and mucky boots and baler twine holding your pants up?
I think by if you take what has been said here, okay, and I got this from Steinbeck Online. Okay,
yeah.
So if and this was at what meeting was this at? This was at the Young Farmers meeting,
yeah.
I believe. So I believe if you take this as it's written on from what was said, that it's one step away from trying to market ourselves as that romantic what a farmer was. And I know when I look at a lot of my neighbors here, I don't see that, right?
Yeah.
And so I sort of think if we are going to make closer connections with consumers, we have to at least sort of be honest and upfront. Not that what we're doing is bad. I think what we're doing is great. I think the food safety is at a much higher level than it was at the romantic stages, in the 20s. So I just think, it's kind of, to me, it's kind of that one step away from, sort of Green Acres, and why are we so scared to say that? Hey, I do run an agribusiness. What's wrong with that? That's that's sort of where I come from.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But running, whether you consider that you run an agribusiness or that you're farming, I don't know that calling yourself a farmer is
it's not derogatory.
No, or it shouldn't be, and I think that for some, maybe it still is, and that perhaps part of this is to say, you can take back that the word farmer and make it, and it's a good thing, and there are some positive connotations to it, but to say that calling yourself a producer has negative connotations, I don't know if I necessarily sign up for that either.
I agree. Yeah, no, I agree. The word farmer is not derogatory.
Well, it shouldn't be.
No, it's not. I think we should. I think most people, if you interviewed or you talked to anybody that is in this, in a grower or producer or farmer group, and you asked them if they felt if they were embarrassed by their occupation, I'm guessing that 99.9% would say no.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're proud of the industry and they're proud of what they do.
Yeah.
So,
but I do think there is an aspect of marketing or branding that is going on, and that's sort of where it's coming from. And there are those that I think will value that and want to build sort of a farm or farmer or their own kind of brand and in their business, in their farm business, and those sorts of things. And why not? But it's not necessarily the route that everyone's going to take.
Well, and the definition of farmer is a tough one to tackle as well, right? What is a farmer? And so it's that's a whole other issue and a whole other topic that I won't get into. No. But what is a farmer is also a very good discussion.
Yes. Well, maybe next time.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Lyndsey. We'll talk to you later.
Okay. Thanks so much. Bye.